statewide meeting with you guys. My name is Belinda Davis, and I'm the president of One Community, One School District. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about us, and we're going to get right into the agenda for tonight because we have a lot to cover, and we want to get you guys home in a reasonable amount of time. First, who are we? We are a nonpartisan group of parents and concerned citizens in the East Baton Rouge Parish school system who believe that the students here are best served by a unified financial system, and we are committed to increasing parental involvement in East Baton Rouge Parish and continuing to help the district strive towards educational excellence. So that's who we are. And then our executive board is composed of these individuals. I'm not going to take the time to introduce you to them. Most of them, though, have name tags on. So if you have questions after the meeting, you should go to one of them or to me, and we'll be happy to talk with you about whatever your issue is. All right, so what are we doing right now with One Community, One School District? We are following what appears to be 5,000 pieces of legislation dealing with education in this legislative session. That's a little bit of an exaggeration. This session is supposed to be primarily geared towards dealing with economic issues in the state, but there are a ton of education bills that are being considered by both the House and the Senate this session. So what we're trying to do in an effort to keep you guys informed, because there's so much out there. I spent several hours today reading the content of all of these bills. Our goal is to pick out the bills that are relevant to parents and students here in the East Baton Rouge Parish system, and to have them available to you on our website. So right now we'll have the names of the bills up there for you. Probably in the next couple of days we'll actually download the content of each of these bills, and we'll give you about a paragraph description of the position that we're taking as One Community, One School District on each of the bills. So as you can see right now, we've got the ones we'll be talking about a lot tonight: Senate Bill 73 and 199, which create the proposed Southeast Community School District here in East Baton Rouge Parish. But there are a host of others, some of which I'll be talking about in a little more detail. But this is just to give you an overview, right, of the things that are going on in the legislative session that parents ought to be paying attention to, because the legislature is going to be moving and moving very quickly. So what we want to do is give you the information you need to contact your senator and representative regarding what you think about a particular bill. All right, so again, we're not going to be addressing all of these tonight. I picked a couple that we think are the most pertinent and the most relevant to talk about. All right, so our focus for this next legislative session is, number one, fighting the proposed Southeast Community School District. So this group is back again attempting to create an independent school district out of part of the East Baton Rouge Parish school system. So we'll talk about why we thought that was a bad idea last legislative session and why we still think it's a bad idea for children in the East Baton Rouge Parish school system, as well as the taxpayers here. We are going to be urging legislators to reject the proposed MFP, which I'll tell you a little bit about that in detail, but that's a really big issue. Another thing we're going to be paying attention to are changes to how our school districts and our schools are scored. Another thing we're going to be paying attention to is a reverse parent trigger. We have Representative Ted James here tonight, and he's going to talk with us about his reverse parent trigger and why he thinks it's important to give parents that kind of power over their children's education. So let's get moving. All right, why are we opposed to the proposed Southeast Community School District? All right, there are several reasons, and I'm going to go over them briefly. Our website has a ton of information in detail that you can go to find out more. It would take me, I could talk for hours on just these 4 slides, but I want to be brief for you. So first, this proposed district further concentrates poverty and decreases diversity inside the East Baton Rouge Parish school system. There's no doubt that that's what it does. What we know is that currently the East Baton Rouge Parish school system is about 81% black and about 82% free and reduced lunch. If this school district is created, what's going to happen is our diversity decreases and the school district becomes about 86% black and about 90% free and reduced lunch. All right? Why do we care about these things? There is a whole body of literature in education research dealing with the consequences of the socioeconomic composition of districts and schools. All right, and there is a pretty good consensus out there in the literature that says that concentrating poverty inside schools and districts makes it more difficult and more expensive to educate those students. That who you go to school with matters, right? And that's why we care about diversity, both from a racial perspective and an economic perspective. And so the creation of this school district makes it more difficult for kids in the East Baton Rouge Parish school system to have both of those things, to have diversity of racial composition and to have diversity of economic status. Right? What we want to do is be very fair in how we characterize the proposed Southeast Community School District's student body and the East Baton Rouge Parish student body. All right? So here's what we know. If the proposed Southeast Community School District just ends up with the public school kids that it has right now, it will be about 64% free and reduced lunch and 50-something% black, all right? So those numbers look pretty good, right, unless you compare them to what they are leaving behind in the East Baton Rouge Parish School District, right? What they're doing is making us come up to a 90% free and reduced lunch population and decreasing our diversity substantially, right? So those are problems for us. But the bigger problem is this. The goal of this district is actually to move students from private schools back into the public school system, which is a very good goal, right? We saw Senator Bodie White talk about this very thing to the Southern Education Desk. He said, I've got parents in this area, they're tired of paying for private schools, and I believe that they're going to come back if we create this district. So then the question becomes, what do the neighborhoods in this district look like? Because they're not going to keep just the traditional public school body that they've got right now. They're going to pull in from the surrounding community. So what does that community look like? On average, it is wealthier and whiter than what will be left behind in the East Baton Rouge Parish school system. These are data from the U.S. Census, the 2010 U.S. Census, where we look at mean family income across the district, the percentage of black residents in the district, and then more importantly, right, so this is what would be left behind in EBR in this column, and this is what would happen in the proposed district, right? The percentage of children under 18 who are black in these districts is quite dramatic, right? So this high level of diversity that is there right now when they just have the kids who are already in the public school system is going to go away if they achieve their goal, which is creating the Southeast Community School District to draw in these students from private schools. All right, so the other reason that we are concerned about this is the financial consequences of this proposed district for the East Baton Rouge Parish school system. Right? This is a really big deal. We are concerned with two things: legacy costs and bonded debt. Okay? Now you can go to your website or to the local schools for local children website, and you'll see they've got these fancy graphics that flash up there that the financial impact on the East Baton Rouge Parish school system is 0. And I am telling you that that is not true. Okay? Well, here's how I know that it's not true. First, Senate Bill 199, actually, the language of it confuses quality construction bonds, right, which are bond money, their debt that has to be repaid, and our tax plan, which is pay as you go, right? So right now, the bill as it is allows this school district to walk away paying for none of the bonded debt, which is approximately $9 million that was spent on the schools in that area that the East Baton Rouge Parish school system will have to pay back. They've got to fix their language, first of all, before they can argue that they're not financially impacting us, right? It may be that they intend to take care of this debt, but as the legislation is written right now, it does not do that, all right? The second thing is the real kicker. Right. This is legacy costs. Legacy costs are the dollars that we have to spend as a school district paying for the financial responsibilities that we have to our retirees and our current employees of the public school system. All right? They made commitments to teach our kids, and we made commitments to them as a community to take care of their retirement costs, the biggest of which is their health care costs. All right? Those are legacy costs. The proposed Southeast Community School District is telling people that they are taking care of the legacy costs. They are not, because they are using an incorrect definition of legacy costs. The language in their bill clearly defines legacy costs as addressing only those East Baton Rouge Parish workers who go to work in the Southeast Community School District. That is not the definition of legacy costs. You'll be able to go to our website and download an article by a PhD in public administration, Dr. Roy Heidelberg, who will talk about legacy costs to you and will tell you, right, that this is not the definition of legacy costs, right? The legacy costs that this district has an obligation to pay are to take with them some responsibility for retirees that served the East Baton Rouge Parish Public School System while that district was part of the East Baton Rouge Parish system. Right now, there are teachers who retired from Woodlawn High that their language says they bear no responsibility for whatsoever. That is not right. And in addition, we have people working in the East Baton Rouge Parish School System right now, right, that are serving all of the citizens of the East Baton Rouge Parish School System, and they have a financial obligation to those individuals as well, right? And if we do not make them take responsibility for these finances, here's what happens. The dollars get sucked out of our classrooms. What happens is there is less money to go into the classroom for our teachers to use to educate our students. And Zachary, Central, and Baker left us without taking any financial responsibility for these dollars. This school district would have done the same thing last legislative session without us forcing them to do it. Having finally, right, we got them to listen. The school board had been saying it, school district had been saying it, and finally parents started saying it. We cannot let this happen again. Our kids are already carrying Zachary, Central, and Baker on their backs. We cannot allow them to be shouldered with this burden again. It just cannot happen. So when they tell you, when you hear someone say that they're taking care of their financial obligations to the East Baton Rouge Parish School System, that is not true. And they are doing it at the expense of the students who will be left behind in the district. Next, we're opposed to this district because of what it might do to our district scores. All right? We know from looking at their scores that these 10 schools are some of our highest performing traditional public schools in the district. All right? These students that will comprise this new district overnight will be a B district without them having learned anything, right? What East Baton Rouge Parish has already taught them, just by drawing those lines, this district is going to be a B district. But what will happen to East Baton Rouge Parish, who educated those students to this point, right? We will slide down and be in danger of becoming a D district again because we've lost some of our highest performing traditional public schools, all right? Why is that a big deal? Because when we become a D district, right, we become at risk for takeover by the Recovery School District, all right? So, I'll tell you, I'm obviously very passionate about this issue, but one of the things that is heartbreaking, right, is that the majority of the parents that I have spoken to that are attending schools, that have children attending schools in this zone, do not know anything about this breakaway district. I have walked the carpool line at Cedar Crest Elementary 2 days in the past 3 weeks, and I talked to over 80 parents, and only 3 of them knew anything about this. All right? So local schools for local children owes it to these parents who were already participating in the public school system to go to them and to explain to them what they're going to do to their schools, how it's going to change their schools, right? I mean, I'm telling you, parents need to be able to make an informed decision. And it is not right that we have so many parents who are participating in our public schools right now who have not been reached out to regarding this issue. So I'm urging you, if you know somebody attending a school in this district, right, please tell them to go to our website, our Facebook page. You can even tell them to go to Local Schools for Local Children's website, right? So that they can make an informed decision about what is going on in the school district. If you know people who just, right, live in the rest of East Baton Rouge Parish, this affects them, right, quite obviously, given what I've just said. So, we will be fighting the breakaway school district again, and we need your help, right? These bills were narrowly defeated in the last legislative session, right? We are hoping that we're going to defeat them again, but we cannot do it without your support. We need your help. So we need you signing our petition. We need you calling legislators. And we'll talk a little bit more about how you can do all of that at the end. All right, so this is another thing that we are going to be paying a lot of attention to and expending a lot of energy on. And this is the changes to the minimum foundation program, which basically starts funding children, what I like to call it merit pay. All right, we are now going to make our public school students earn their funding from state and local governments. All right, so this is the change to how we fund public education in the state of Louisiana that has been proposed by Bessie. The legislature cannot change it. All they can say is yes or no. And so we will be urging legislators this session to reject the MFP. Why? Because it's crazy. All right, so here is what they're doing, all right? The proposed MFP requires students with disabilities, right, so special education students, to outperform the state's value-added assessments of them in order to receive their full allotment of funds. So what we're going to do is we're going to take special needs kids in the 4th grade, and we're going to look at how they do on the LEAP, and if they don't do, they can't even meet expectations and get the full amount, they have to exceed what the state thought they should be doing for them to get all of their special education dollars. All right, this is wrong. All right, we are the only state in the country doing this. I have emailed disability associations across the country. Nobody else is doing this. There's a blogger on education for, I believe it's the Washington Post, who says this is the first, right? We are tying a student's funding, a student with special needs, right, to how they're doing on our standardized tests. And this is wrong. It is absolutely wrong. All right? The other thing that they're doing in this MFP is that they're doing the same thing for gifted and talented children. All right? Gifted and talented kids now, or when they get to high school, are going to have to score in the highest bracket possible on just several of their, on several subjects. I think it's the math and science subjects on their end of course exams to get their full allotment. Or they have to take an AP test and make a 3, 4, or 5 to get their full allotment. So now gifted and talented kids are going to be required to earn their education dollars as well. Right? So what kind of sense does it make for the state to think that a talented kid, right, who is an expert in trombone playing, right, or one of our drama students who is in the talented program, what kind of rationale is it that you're using to think that those same students ought to be making 4s and 5s on the AP or at the highest level on a math test, right? That is not the definition of what a talented kid is supposed to be excelling at. And when it comes to our gifted students, right, I listened to a PhD from LSU who studies gifted students talking at the Baton Rouge group, Gifted and Talented Parents group, and she sat up there and she said, AP classes are not designed to meet the needs of gifted and talented students, and they should not be used as substitutes for a gifted and talented education. This is one of the things that we're doing really well in the state of Louisiana, and we're doing exceptionally well here in East Baton Rouge Parish, and now, right, they are putting that success in jeopardy by basically they're making our students earn their educational dollars. And I quite frankly just think that this is wrong. And we cannot stand for this. If this does not make people in Louisiana stand up and take note of what the Bessie Board is doing to public education, I do not know what will. All right, this is wrong. Next, the other bills that we're going to be paying for, are paying attention to, deal with the ACT. All right? So right now, we have requirements that require you, when you're graduating from high school, to take the ACT and to pass it with, I think it's an 18, in order to be able to get your diploma. All right? Right now, we're requiring, again, special ed students who are pursuing non-traditional diplomas to take the ACT. Okay? This does not make any sense again, right? If you have a special education child who is reading on the 5th grade level, which I just had a conversation with a teacher about this very issue, why are you making a special education child like that take the ACT? It serves no purpose. And so there are bills out there right now that would deal with this. House Bill 343 and 127, right, basically are going to allow these students to be exempted from the ACT, so they don't have to take the ACT. And though, right here, we're not going to punish school districts for allowing those kids to opt out of the ACT, all right? Because right now, school districts are punished in their scores if students don't take the ACT. So what this does is it changes that.